Welcome to South Dakota Living. I have a tomato, specifically tomato seed hoarder stash that I like to share with you guys. This is my struggle. There is no way that I can grow the amount of seeds, varieties that I've collected this past year. I'm sure many of you guys have some kind of a seed hoarding stash. Maybe you're into flowers or just vegetables, and or both, and you just you buy all the seeds, you trade the seeds. Leave a comment. Let me know how many varieties you have. Um, I think that choosing, I don't know, because I really love the different kinds of tomatoes and varieties that I'm learning about, that I don't know, choosing which tomatoes I'm going to grow each year is kind of getting harder almost than the actual growing of them and getting them into the garden. So I'm going to show you today what I've collected, and it's going to look a little bit different than what you probably see from other YouTube videos that you watch and people that you watch. You'll see a lot of them holding, like the seeds from seed businesses that they have purchased that have pictures and descriptions and everything out there. But I'm going to show you different niche that I'm into, and it's going to look a little different. And so here goes. This is the best way I know how to do it. This is about the only seed pack. This is the only seed pack that you're going to see that looks like this, right? So other than that, this is the seeds that I have, right? It's over 200 different varieties of seeds, and I can just go on. I don't even know, right? I don't even know where to begin. And I do, because I have some very rare varieties. Then there are some that are cherries and microdwarfs and dwarf varieties, bicolors, tricolors, variegated, that I'm really looking forward to. And so that's where I'm struggling. It's not just, I want a red slicer, I need a couple cherries. Realistically, I grew 173 tomato plants last year with 78 different varieties. Yeah, it was a little overwhelming at harvest time because there's just so much going on at the time, but it wasn't, now that I got through a year and I know what to expect and what worked and what didn't work, I'm going to change it a little bit when in my thought process here when I'm making cuts, like how many do I have that are pretty similar? How many, red slicers do I have? How many green do I have? The green when ripe, how many of those do I want to try? And then also, I'm part of another grow out for tomatoes. There's one I'm part of for a pepper, specific varieties that I want to try just to grow the biggest tomato. So like I said, there are some must-haves, and I'm going to do my research and find out, as some of them is in the parentage of other crosses. So, say there's a specific kind like Cherokee Purple, I could have another name that is, Cherokee Purple crossed with Berkeley Tie-Dye or something. So, then I can just kind of cross one of those out. And yeah, so that's what this looks like. You see all different names. You won't see any pictures. It's just trades and trades. And the thing about, like each one, I can kind of show you here. Like this one only has a few seeds in it. This one is called Dwarf Boyd Smith that I got in a trade. Let me read off a few more. Reinhardt's Purple Sugar. Some people send you 12 seeds. If it's really rare, maybe you'll get 5 seeds. Maybe you'll get 10 seeds that you're trading for, which is plenty, because all you need is a couple plants of those varieties, and then you save seeds. And I mean, last year I had one tomato that inside had over 200 seeds. So I mean, that's 20 people that I can send 10 seeds to, and that's just one tomato. So that's why I love trading, because you don't need much. When you buy from big companies, which is great because you'll find some from there too that you can't find in other places, and you'll get a whole pack of them. Some of those companies send you 20 plus seeds, maybe 50 seeds. But for me, I don't need that many, because then, the next year I'm only going to plant a couple, and the next year a couple, and then we start talking about seed viability after the years go by. So this is what I do, and then anything left over after the end of the year, seeds that I didn't grow but I have excess seeds too, they get traded too with other people. So going back to realistically the room that I have, I rent 6 plots at the community garden. Last year, half of the 3 plots, so half of my 6 plots, were used basically just for tomatoes and having the space, and it worked perfectly. And then at home, I have 2 raised beds that are 4x8. Hopefully this year I can get a different setup. It will never be able to be as much space as what I get at the community gardens. Plus, it's community. We friends with all the gardeners around, and it's a lot of fun, and you can share and talk to everybody else and help. So I enjoy that aspect and wouldn't change that. So the 4x8 boxes, I'll put dwarves in there where I can stake, because they only get 3-4 feet at the most. The micro dwarves, I put a couple in my green stock just to trial and test that out, and they did well. There was only 2 of those, and it grew well. The only problem is that I should have staked it, found like little stakes to stick in the little sleeves to give it some support, because they kind of fell over and then they were growing upside down, which, hey, that's kind of like the topsy-turvy method back in the day. So I could probably put a couple more in my green stock. I think it's a 7-tiered one. And then I got some 5-gallon grow bags, and I had 2 of the same variety planted in each grow bag, and they had more than enough room, and they grew 6 feet plus, very successful with those cherry varieties. So that's kind of realistically the space that I have, and that's another thing that's going to go into my thought process on what I choose. Obviously, I'm going to plant all new varieties. I think there's a comeback of Piglet Willie's French Black. It was a black cherry, kind of oblong. It was probably one of my favorite cherries. It was sweet but savory. So that one's going to come back for sure. And then Paws Pride Micro Dwarf. I had 2 very ripe tomatoes ready to be picked, and I was not ready to pick them. So I thought, oh, well, we'll just tomorrow, right? I'm going to pick those, we'll make a BLT for lunch. And I went out there, and they were completely gone. And I still don't know who the culprit is. I think it's squirrels, because I couldn't find any remnants left. There was no goo, there was no seeds, there was no skin, there was nothing. It was completely gone. And I have rabbits in my garden. They seem to kind of hop in and hop out and don't really cause much damage. I've never caught one eating a tomato, but yeah, the squirrels, I don't know. So I'm going to be watching this year, and I don't want that to happen again, because I never got to taste it. So I will be regrowing that this year. Yeah, so while I'm struggling, it's a struggle I think that most of you can relate to, picking the ones, if you have too many to choose from, or just, I could simplify it and just kind of close my eyes and grab something, but I really want specific varieties. If you can imagine those heirloom tomatoes, sliced and put on your plate, drizzled with olive oil, or on a BLT, and you have all the different bicolors, tricolors, reds, and I like I said, I'm a tomato enthusiast. Today, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sorting through everything. I'm going to put them in categories that I've previously mentioned: the cherries, the rares, the must grows, and then make some tough cuts. So I think that's what I'm going to do from this point on. That's what my next video is going to be about. I'm going to make the cuts, and I'm going to go through with you the ones I chose, some of the names of them. Maybe I can get some pictures up of what they look like, and encourage you guys to try different kinds, because there's more than your regular early girls and things like that. I know a lot of people don't try heirlooms because and you're somebody who wants all your tomatoes now, that makes sense. You're going to pick determinants, something that's just going to grow to a certain height and then flush their, they're all going to be ripe and flush at the same time, and that way you can make your salsas, your stews, your tomato sauces, crushed tomatoes, things like that. But for me, when you grow this many varieties, I don't really have to worry about getting them all at the same time, because it seems like when one ripens, there's another one, and I was leaving the garden every few days with a 5-gallon bucket full of tomatoes. Yes, some varieties do matter if you're looking for a paste and a aroma for your tomato products. I understand that too, but for me that doesn't really matter, because like I said, there's so many different varieties. I'm getting all the kinds. So if I'm making crushed tomatoes or tomato sauces or spaghetti sauce and all those things, it all just gets dumped in. And if some of the tomato varieties are more watery, you can add tomato paste to thicken it up. You can cook the water down. You can take the water out. And it all kind of tastes the same. So that part doesn't really matter when I'm choosing so much. So I think that is enough tomato seed chaos talk for today. Yeah, hard decisions need to be made. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me while I talk through this chaos. If you are somebody who enjoys gardening, planning, tomato talk, you also have a seed hoard that you may or may not want to tell people, you can come hang out with me. I would love it if you guys would want to subscribe to my channel. I'm just kind of starting out here in this YouTube adventure, so I would love your support. Also, if you could leave a comment. Let me know if you subscribed or if you thought anything was relatable to you or something that you were looking forward to. Then I can come and check out your guys' channels too and subscribe, and we can help each other grow our communities. Please also hit the bell so you don't miss out on part 2, which is when I'm going to show you all the final cuts that I made in my actual 2026 potential, we'll say potential list, because it's ever changing and something is always being added or making the cut. So we'll see you on part 2. Thank you.